Hello dear viewers, this is Engineer Abdul Hadi and I am going to record a small video on introduction to building services. Now building services, they are called the dynamics in a static structure, meaning that a structure by itself, even with its furnishing and furniture, this is practically of no use because movement within the buildings, then means of communication, various facilities and comfort conditions required within the buildings, they are assured by the building services. Now, movement like elevators for passengers and for cargo, communication within the buildings and between the building and the outside world, various facilities like air conditioning, then drainage and plumbing facilities, then firefighting facilities, then electrical facilities like electrical lighting, power, etc., fire alarm system. They are all the field of building services. Now, these services are unavoidable, so those involved with the planning of the buildings, like the architects, like the surveyors, like the builders, and even the structural engineers, the real estate managers and the property dealers, they need to understand the importance of building services because without these building services, buildings are of practically no use. Now, the branches of building services today, they are divided into two main branches. One is building services mechanical and the other one is building services electrical. Now, I will talk about the building services mechanical first. Now, the building services mechanical, this is the foremost is the heating, ventilation and air conditioning systems, abbreviated as HVAC systems. Now, these systems, they provide heating when it is cold, and then they provide cooling in the hot weathers. And a very important part of HVAC is the ventilation, which is important for the hygiene of the occupants. Then facilities like water supply, plumbing, and sanitary services, where the washing water and the potable water and whatever water, irrigation water, they are assured to be provided to the occupants of the building, and means of removing the used water away from the building through sewer and sewerage system. This is also the field of building services. Then a very important aspect of building services is the fire protection systems. And this fire protection systems is of so many kinds, starting from simple system like portable fire extinguisher and going to complicated systems like foam systems and like balloon systems and like fire water systems. And these systems, they assure and they are planned to provide protection to the users and to the occupants of the building and to the property and the contents of the building in case a fire erupts. Then means of vertical transportation like elevators or lifts, which are for passengers and cargo. This is also the field of building services. Then building management systems, which integrate together all the electromechanical services provided within the buildings, their control, their monitor, their maintenance, whatever is needed to be taken care of them. This is done through building services, building management systems called BMS systems. Then energy management system is an emerging field of building services, and through this we assure that energy wastage should be minimized and energy should be used economically, and the building should be self-sufficient in energy as far as possible. Then another important discipline of building services is acoustics and noise control system. Now, noise levels have been defined for various types of buildings and various spaces, and the job of acoustics and noise control is to provide these noise levels. Then, sustainability and green buildings. So, here the effort is made to make the buildings as green as possible, that they should consume very little energy from outside, and the energy should be sustainable, meaning that today's energy usage and today's development should not be at the cost of the depletion of the resources of the future generations. Now, the importance of the building services, this is described by two factors, which is cost of these services, and the other one is the volume required to accommodate these services. Now, so far as the cost of these building services is concerned, today's building, they may take up to 50% of the total construction budget of a building. So this is the importance, and even in specialized building such as sports center, etc., the cost can be as high as 75% of the total construction budget of the building. Now, so far as the volume of the building services required, that is the volume of the building needed to accommodate these services, a rough estimate is 15% of the building volume may be consumed in accommodating these building services. So, in view of their importance to the users, in view of their cost impact, in view of the volume, these services, they needed to be given their due importance by the planners and the architects. And in the next videos, we will be talking more and more about the various disciplines of these building services. Bye for now.